Be careful with stacking your bid modifiers. What do you like about bulk files?
Bulk files is faster to making optimizations, but it has a downside. So that we can only see only one date range, and that is what we download. The optimizations make faster and it's more effective rather than going into campaigns one by one. If I have any doubts, I just go to the advertising console, going into the campaign and check a different date range.
So let's walk through how to download a bulk sheet. So show me how to do that.
So in order to download the bulk sheet, we need to click bulk operations here and we need to select the date range. So since this is the first optimization of the week, I select the last week's data. And here, in order to make the file a little bit less size, I get rid of the search term data, guidance for sponsor product, and sponsor brand multi-ad group data. And click download.
How often
Sorry,
do you download a bulk sheet typically?
once a week.
That makes sense. And you know, the one thing I wish bulk sheets did that doesn't do is day parting. How many campaigns are on this account? Just give me a rough number.
I guess it's around 100 maybe.
Which should be a lot harder to go one by one, right? And that's exactly what they want us to do with day parting is one campaign at a time. No count level settings, nothing. Just good luck.
Yeah, definitely.
And when you make a bulk sheet change, how many different optimizations would you average on this account?
Well, of course, it depends on the number of active targets. That makes 100 or maybe 300 different changes. And depending on the account, I do bulk negations as well. And it takes a lot more than 300.
I love me some negations, but never negate a good keyword, right? Only negate
Definitely,
bad.
definitely. The first tab is the portfolio, so we can see our portfolios from here, but it is only giving the information about the name, budget, currency, budget policy, and so on and so forth. So it doesn't give us the data. So this is our bulk file. And as soon as I import the bulk file, I create filter and here entity, I just clear all of them and select keywords and product targeting. We can do this in different filtrations, such as by just filtering the bids here, because we all know that the targets have the bids. So if they don't have a bid, then they are not current targets. So this is the second way.
And there are 50,000 rows of data on this file, but you just filtered it down to just over 500. So walk me through what you're trying to accomplish next.
So this is our weekly optimizations, weekly target optimizations. We typically do find the sweet spots on the targets. How can we do that? By decreasing the bids of the high ACOS and wasted spend targets in order to lower the inefficient spend. And then we increase the bids of the low ACOS in order to try to get more, try to advertise them more often so that they can give us more advertising sales. And therefore, the aim is, of course, lowering the ACOS and making the account more profitable.
All right, so run me through one of these.
So we have all the targets, and then I like to sort by the ACOS. And before doing any changes,
There are a couple of those at the top that really stand out there. So we got one at 82%, one at 69, and like the baseline for most of those is under 30%. So those definitely stand out.
the current ACOS of this account is 15%, and by doing these changes, we can lower the ACOS even more so. And before doing any optimizations yet, I like to add some old bits and new bits and the action column here. Unfortunately, this bit optimization doesn't leave a history. By adding those old bits, new bits, and actions columns here. So for instance, after 1 week later or 2 weeks later, if the account is changed with the account and it doesn't work as it should, then I go back my previous bulk optimizations and check my previous bids and what is the new bid and what is the action so that I can easily revert the bids where it was.
What's the best way to do this in bulk?
Of course, we have some different approaches. One is the optimization the bids by the percentage, and it will include also the laddering. So for instance, if the ACOS is more than 100%, increase the bids by 30%, and if it is between 90 and 100%, decrease the bids by 25%, and so on and so forth. So it can decrease by 20%, 15%, and 10%.
And it's better to do smaller percentages versus bigger. Why?
Higher ACOS, of course, causes more problem. We should lower the bids more than the lower ACOS.
Usually I like the micro adjustments myself because it's too big of a change, you could destroy the campaign, right? But, if we're making frequent micro adjustments, we'll get to the destination faster sometimes. That's my experience anyway. So every use case is different, but you defaulted to that kind of 10 to 20% bid adjustment, which makes sense to me.
But of course, this specific account has the lower CPCs, as we can see. So for instance, like decreasing the bids by 10%, it makes only the 50 cents decrease. Therefore, for this specific account, I like to change the bids by according to the dollars, rather than decreasing by the percentages. First of all, I would like to lower the bids until the 40%, I would say, for this account. So those targets that I would change the bits. So I just copy and paste all the bits here and copy them here, all bits, and the new bits. So I like to make changes according to the CPC. So that would, in that case, I certainly know that our next CPC after this bulk optimization will be decreased and it will be lowered than the current CPC. So for instance, for the example above, our current bid is 92 cents, but the CPC is 55 cents. So if I decrease the bids, let's say to 70 cents, I'm not sure if the CPC going down under 55%. Therefore, in order to make sure that the CPC is below the average CPC, so for instance, I could lower it down to 45 cents. So it's 10 cents below the average CPC. So since this is low CPC already, I just decrease the minus 0.50 cents.
And then drag that all the way
And
down. So we're making 10 bid changes across potentially 10 different campaigns, all in one little drop down there. So that's the benefit of a bulk sheet.
And I just leave a note here. So decreased bid while high ACOS. And I highlight them as red. And so lower ACOS has tend to low impression, low click, and the low sales. So that is actually the Amazon's algorithm to show the customers who likely to buy. Therefore, they have low traffic, then we need to increase the bids. Let's increase the bids until the 10% of ACOS. So just copy and paste current bids here. And again, let's increase the bids by 10 cents. And all the way down.
Nice. About 20 changes there.
Increase bids, low ACOS. And lastly, we also need to check the wasted spends here. So in order to achieve that, we just disable all of the filters and just add 0% ACOS and sort by the spend.
So these ones are with 0 sales, but they might have clicks.
Yes, that's right.
So these are onesie twosies, but there is some with some spend in there.
Yes, if that's the case, if the spend is low and there is no targets that it stands out, then it's always good to sort by the click, because even though since the lower CPC, the spending might be less, but the clicks can be 20 or...
So right around 20 clicks is when we might take action. So we got a couple that are in that range. And it looks like one of those is a close match, loose match, substitute. So all of those are off auto, which makes it a little tricky.
Right. So let's decrease the bids just a little, 5 cents. All right, so sponsored product has completed. And as a final actions, I disable all of the filters and I just select what I put as a note. So in that case, I can see all of the big changes here. In order to make the file to be uploaded on the Amazon, copy the new bits here and paste here. And then lastly, we need to make sure that operation column has update data on each row. This file is ready. I just copy and paste on another sheet.
And this is version control, so you can keep your notes on the other one. And then rename this one, and then we go load it in. And just curious, Bacon, have you ever had to undo a bulk sheet before?
I
What
did
what
several times.
what was like a top 1 or 2 reasons why you might need to make a big undo?
So, for instance, let's assume we uploaded the book file today.
Yeah, yeah. Show us how to upload it.
This is the file that we prepared, and then you can double check the if the operations are updated, and then we just download in the Excel file and go to the book file operations, and in here choose file, then we select the file that we optimized and click.
And then we hit upload to process changes. Cool. Is that like the biggest change for this account this week, or is there anything else that you would normally do?
This is a typical Monday change for this account. And afterwards, of course, we need to check the data in the campaigns level. So this is the target level, but we also check the, what campaign has the highest spend. And the current ACOS is 18.51%. I guess it is a little bit more than the 1 week prior. And then we need to understand what's going on with the account. So let's check the share sales. 94,000 sales, and 1 week prior it was 95, so it's around the same, but we have a
The
big
spend went up.
jump in the spending. So the spend increased from 14,000 to 16, almost $17,000, but in return we couldn't get enough sales. Therefore, that increases the ACOS. So this book file is to prevent the lower the spend, inefficient spend, and increase the visibility of the target that is running with low ACOS so that we can boost the sales. So hopefully we can increase the sales and decrease the spend and lower the ACOS and make the client happy with the more profit.
What are the top mistakes that you see people make in PPC all the time?
They negate good keywords.
Never do that.
Uh, Never do that. And sometimes, so for instance, we have campaigns like mixed match type. So in here in Mag, we know that we create campaigns for each match type. So we never add broad, phrase, and exact into the same campaigns. We create 3 different campaigns, and if we want to do that, we put exacts into one campaign and the other one and the others.
And why do that?
Broad match type campaigns has tend to target also the exact match type, exact match keyword. So for instance, a stroller or organizer, for instance, in here. So if we add broad and exact into the same campaigns, the stroller organizer can be targeted in for both broad match type target and exact match type target. And if we negate stroller, and if it is not performing very well, then we negate the stroller organizer from the campaign. But the thing is, since we negate it, so both broad and exact won't be advertising our product. So they are basically will be stopped. In order to prevent that, we separate broad match type targets from the exact match type campaign targets.
So
So that is
affect the bids, it can affect the ACOS, and it could skew where the impressions go between the types. But when we want both, we need to separate them out. Makes sense. What about your top 2 or 3 PPC tips? What are things that everybody needs to be doing?
I see a lot of wasted spend targets. So that increases the ACOS greatly. And what I'm observed that people are a little bit scared to pause and negate keywords that has some spends. So they are waiting for the sale. But in my opinion, this is not always the case. So they are growing each day and each hour. In order to lower this inefficiency, regular negations must be done on the account, on the each campaigns. Of course, auto, broad, and price campaigns.
How often do you typically run negations?
Yeah, depending on the account, but I always do once a month. And if the account is so big that generates a lot of search terms, do the negations in once a 2 week. Less than 2 week is a little bit, I don't recommend it because we need that search terms in order to grow the accounts.
Give me one more PPC tip, something that everybody should be doing.
That could be tip for the sponsored brand. Previously, I had an account that has a water pump, and they claim that they are more silent and faster than their competitors. And then they created a video that shows their product is more silent and faster than the top competitors. And we put that into the sponsor brand video campaign. And that video campaign was the most successful campaign in the account. And it has the lowest ACOS. My tip is, if you have some kind of product that you claim you are better than your competitors in some ways, and if you can show them on the video, then you should definitely try sponsor brand video campaign.
Sponsored brand video campaign. And you're saying that that sometimes can get you a lower ACOS?
Yes, definitely.
Why?
If you show your product is better than your competitors, then naturally the customers are interested and try your product.
Does it generate more clicks? Is it like an as seen on TV products? The demonstration really attracts people. What do you think it is?
So the conversion rate is increasing when people watch your video and they're already convinced to purchase your product rather than clicking competitors and purchase it.
So you think there's higher buyer intent with a video ad like this right here, where they
Mhm.
see everything, they see the close up. Whereas
Mhm.
when somebody's clicking on random sponsored product ads, maybe they might be interested, maybe they're not. Who knows, right? So you're saying higher buyer intent.
Yes.
Okay. Anything that's on your mind in PPC?
So in order to avoid, I must tell that time to time, I see that people are using type of search placements and bidding strategy, up and down bidding strategy together. So that makes the campaign much more difficult to manage. The reason is, if we put up and down as a bidding strategy, and let's say we add 50% type of search placements. So inside that campaign, $1 bid becomes $3. So we allow Amazon to spend up to $3 for $1 bid. So it's just tripled, and people are seeing like $3, $2.50 CPC, and they just freak out because you allow Amazon to spend that. Of course, Amazon wants to spend more money than any of us.
Amazon always sending me emails about spending more on advertising. Who would have thought? Amazon makes more money on advertising today than they do on all of AWS combined, right? So they make a lot of
Yes.
money on advertising today. So that's a really huge stat, by the way, guys. It's in the billions and billions of dollars. All right. So be careful with stacking your bid modifiers. That's the tip I'm
Mhm.
hearing from you. Okay. I personally wouldn't go above 25% top of search, especially if you're stacking that with up and down modifier type for sure. It might make a good case for fixed bid if you want to do top of search. If you liked my PPC video, click on these advertising playlist videos next.